Problems seem so small. Here in the presence, all my giants fall. We are living the power of now.
Spiritual center where we celebrate the magnificence of God in you, as you, all around you. There is nothing but God. Whatever you call God, and it is good. It breathes, right? You breathe. Its heart beats right where your heart beats. It didn't skip over you and just land on your neighbor and be good. It sees you, created you, knows you, understands you as the goodness of God. And guess what? It didn't create a mistake. So, if you're keeping a list of your mistakes, if you're thinking that this God that we speak of is Santa Claus keeping a naughty and a nice list, it is not. It is unconditional love. It is energy. It is life force. And it knows you how it created you. And it never changed its mind about you. So, if you're keeping a list of mistakes, why don't you let them go? In one way, it's a complete waste of your time. If God is not doing it, then why should you? Let it go now. And at CSE, we believe that everything is spiritual, and that would include your cell phone. So what I need you to do is spiritualize your cell phone. What does that mean, Pastor Yolanda? Put your cell phone, your smart devices, on vibrate. But if something moves you, touches you, put it out there on Facebook. Let people know where you are, where you're tapped in, tuned, and turned on to this idea of love, unconditional. A Course in Miracles says it very profoundly. All minds are joined. And so you never know how you're going to impact another life. Put it out there. Let people know and let them transform themselves. And if on your way in you receive one of these blue connection cards, please turn it over, fill it out with your email address, drop it in with your offering, and we will put you on the mailing list because we have so many good things coming this year as we move. This is actually our anniversary month. I'm claiming the whole month now. Because we are moving into year 7 at CSC. And so we're celebrating. Because we celebrate the goodness of God in you, as you, and all around you. And we celebrate the truth that is manifested all around you. When we were in the process of saying yes to this thing that we didn't know what year 7 would look like, we didn't know what your faces would look like, we said we wanted to create a place that felt like home. And when you come to this place, you would never be a visitor. That's too stuffy for us. If anything, you would be a guest in our home and in our heart. And when you came back, you would be family. First time you come, you're a guest. When you come back, family. So, if we have any first-time guests, please stand briefly so we can acknowledge you. First-time guest. Thank you for being here. And remember, the first time you come to CSC, you're a what? Yes. When you come back, you're what? Family. All right, let's stand and greet each other like family.
Yes, we are one family, celebrating this beautiful truth together. And in this moment, we want to take some time to put to song a profound idea, this profound idea of oneness. And what does that mean? It's a central tenet, central teaching in New Thought, that we are one. And what does that mean? Well, we think about this thing that we call God. I say thing that we call God because God doesn't need you to call it, doesn't care what name you use, source, spirit, universe, doesn't matter. It is the all in all. It is omnipresence, which means it is not only omnipresence, meaning it is everywhere and everything. That means that you too are a individualized expression of God, of the divine, of source. And a beautiful ancient metaphor that helps us understand this is by simply saying, I am the wave and God is the ocean. Right now, when we look at the ocean, we recognize that there's no separation. We recognize that the wave is an expression of the entire ocean, but yet we're never confused. We would never call the wave in the Atlantic Ocean the Atlantic Ocean. But it's interesting, a wave is different in intensity. And so each and every one of us are waves and express. Return again. What's that idea? I am all of creation. I am the wave. You are the ocean. All that you are, I am. One with the one. One with the one. All of creation. All that you are, I am. I am. I am. You are the ocean. All that you are. I am one with the one. All of creation. You are. I am. I am. I am. I am. All that you are. I am. One more time, I am. All that you together, God beating. All that you are, I am. All that you are, I am. Oh, I am. I am. I am. I am. You are the ocean. I am the wave of God. Oh, all that you are, I am. I am. I am. I am.
And I am so happy to see all of your beautiful faces this morning. Everything we do, the vision, celebration spiritual of the world. A God experience is the realization of oneness that transcends material sense. Our mission and purpose is to awaken the world to the presence of God within and all around us, to celebrate this truth as one family, to embody unconditional love, to equip humanity to live our greatest lives and to serve all creation. The centering thought for this month's meditation is, I feel the love of God within me now. And the song for the month is Bliss. We continue the March message series, You Better Work. Truth Principles for Successful Living, Part 3. In the book, Working with the Law, Dr. Raymond Hollowell writes, every idea and mental picture must produce after its own kind, whether the picture is good or bad. The law determines it so. The law does not question or challenge the kind of picture we give to it. It only knows that it must take what it is offered or planted and then proceed to materialize into a visible form. There is a definite something that is always at work, responding to the ideas and mental pictures we give it. Some call it God, some call it spirit, some call it the universe. Beyond the infinite names we may give it, we must come to know it as law. God is law, and law is God. Ancient wisdom teaches us that law is always available, always responding, and yet the circumstances of our lives and our world seem to reflect just the opposite, unavailable and non-responsive. Could it be that this is the result of our misunderstanding of the law? In order to work with the law, we must develop a clear understanding void of superstition about what it is, what it does, how it works, and how to work it. This month, we complete our 3-part teaching series inspired by working with the law. Prepare your heart and mind to receive and apply these truth principles. As you come to know the law, you can work the law. Pastor Yolanda's topic today is Make the Sacrifice of Fear. It's time for your CSC news and updates. Come get clarity about what's going on in your life. Pastor Greg and Pastor Yolanda are here to support you in applying what you learn at CSC to your daily life experiences. Join us on next Sunday, March 15th at 1 p.m. for the God Talk, where no question is off limits. We're counting down the days until our 7th anniversary. We've got so many reasons to celebrate, so come join us on Sunday, March 29th. And we encourage you to invite your friends and family to celebrate this magnificent milestone. And there's still time to sign up for the Team Celebrate Appreciation Party. PG and PY are inviting all volunteers to a pizza party and game night to show their appreciation for your loving and dedicated service to Celebration Spiritual Center. If you volunteered at any time, in any capacity, over the past 7 years at CSC, register and plan to attend. Registration closes on March 23rd, so go to celebrationsc.org/register and sign up today. Celebrate the Christ within on Easter Sunday. Invite your friends and family to our Easter service on Sunday, April 12th. Doors open at 10:30 and service begins promptly at 11. Get here early because it's going to be packed and it's going to be jammed. CSC's annual Baby Blessing Celebration will be held on Monday, Mother's Day, not Monday, on Mother's Day, May 10th. If your child is 3 years old or younger and you would like to participate in our ceremony, sign up at the Member Services table or go to celebrationsc.org/register and complete the form by April 26th. The ceremony is free for all active members. Non-members can also participate at a cost of $150 per child. If you have questions, please see Pastor Greg or Pastor Yolanda. Fill up your morning cup. PG, PY, and the prayer champions pray with us and for us every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. Call details can be found at the host table on our website and social media. Connect with us this Wednesday and fill up your morning cup. Text to give, it's fast, it's easy, and it's secure. Text your dollar amount to 347-744-9500, then follow the prompts. Minimum donation is $10. Again, that number is 347-744-9500. Try it out today. And just a few housekeeping reminders. Food and drink Not allowed in the sanctuary, except for water. However, please make sure that your beverage is covered. Also, no audio or video recording is permitted during service. And now we have an announcement from Pastor Yolanda, but before that, thank you so much for celebrating. See you next week. Lord, Denise, we need to put her on a phone line, don't we? All right now. Two announcements. The first announcement, we are going to be rocking our I Heart CSC t-shirts on Anniversary Sunday. So if you would like to, we would love for everyone to go online, go onto our website and purchase your t-shirt, whatever you'd like. Go into the store, purchase whatever I Heart CSC t-shirt you would like, tie-dye, hoodie, short, whatever you'd like, and wear it on Anniversary Sunday. Show all the love because we'll be here showing love for you. So don't forget that. And the last announcement is that I'm super excited. I get excited about teaching this class. How many people have taken 50 Days of Fearless Living? It's one of my favorite classes to teach because it's based on A Course in Miracles, which is one of our foundational texts here. And all of my years of study, almost 20 years now, I started when I was like a year old or something like that. All of my years of study, I realized, right? 6 months. 6 months. I realized those first 50 lessons of A Course in Miracles, if you got those lessons, if you made it through those lessons, because a lot of people don't, if you made it through those first lessons, you would have this foundation for your life that you would never, ever, ever feel fear the way you felt it before. That you could live fearlessly if you applied, integrated those teachings. A Course in Miracles says, if you knew who walked beside you on this road that you have chosen, you would never be in fear again. So please join me for 50 Days of Fearless Living. It's always a great class. I will be doing a Q&A class on the 25th of this month, and class starts on April 1st. So don't be foolish. Yes, it was intentional. Join me for class on April 1st, but if you have questions, see me after service, or join me for the call on March 25th, okay? All right. Well, we have come to the time in our service that we dedicate to ourselves in a more profound way. That we dedicate to meditation, to contemplation, but more importantly to knowing, to feeling, to allowing this truth to permeate every cell of your being. And we do this intentionally every week because we find sometimes that our minds are preoccupied. And the more we focus on that, the more afraid we feel, the more disconnected we feel, the more in worry and doubt we feel. All of us come to these teachings, whether we're new or whether we've been studying for a while, because there's something within us that is drawing us to truth. And we can study all the texts that we like, but like I say, you can study, you feel God within yourself. It is just information. And so we take time to move beyond information to integration, to knowing, to feeling. And this month, our affirmation is I feel the love of God within me now. Alive within me now. I feel it as I feel my breath and my heart beating. Always available. And so we take this time together to feel this love that feels so real. This love that brings us peace, joy, ease, and ultimately bliss. So let's close our eyes. And if you're holding anything on your lap, go ahead and surrender that to the floor. Make yourself a channel available to this love. to this bliss, to this truth. Allow your back to rest against the chair and let that sensation remind you that you are held and loved. And with breath we breathe, we relax a little more. With each breath that we breathe, we go inward a little more. With each breath that we breathe, we signal love, that we are available. And so we just notice the breath. No judgment, no forcing, just notice. And from this place of noticing, we bring our focus to the feet. And we surrender the feet to the floor, to the ground of all being. Relax the feet. And the energy underneath our feet makes its way up our ankles, across our shins and calves. Relax the shins and the calves. And relax the knees. And now the energy begins to travel across our thighs. Relax the thighs. Energy settles in the hip sockets, the seat of joy. They relax and release. We imagine this energy beginning to travel up our spine, Kundalini rising, crossing each chakra. And as it does, each spins, balances, activates, and opens. Energy flows out, up and out our crown. And from this open receptacle, we imagine energy, information flowing back down through the crown, across the third eye, availing itself of our truth, our throat, across our shoulders and down our arms. Relax the shoulders and the arms follow. Now you can place the palms down on the lap to ground yourself, or turn the palms up if you'd like to receive more of this love, this bliss, this truth. Either way, let's move this energy together on the breath. Bring the focus to the right side of the body. Inhale up the right side. Hold it there and exhale down the left. Inhale up the left side of the body. Last round. And now bringing that front and center. Let's breathe into our low belly. Inhale through the low belly. Hold it there. Open the mouth and release. Inhale through the low belly, up through the rib cage. Expanding the front and the sides, back of this body. Physical and subtle, expanding it all. Open the mouth and let it all go. Last time, inhale all the way up, this time through the heart. Hold it there. Open the mouth and release. Beautiful. And this time, inhale all the way up through the heart. Hold it there. New set point, new reality, new healing opportunity. Now close the lips, exhale slowly through the nose. This is how we will breathe for the remainder of our meditative time. In and out through the nose. With each breath, relaxing a little more. With each breath, realizing that the love of God is filling us completely from head to toe. And as we sing these words, creating this musical container, you just stay in that flow. Feeling the love of God within you now. I can have joy, I can feel peace and bliss. I can have joy, I can feel peace and bliss. I can have joy, I can feel peace and bliss. I can have joy, I can feel peace and bliss. I can have joy, I can feel peace and bliss. I can have joy, I can feel peace and bliss. Joy, peace, bliss. Joy and peace and bliss. Feel it now. Joy, peace, bliss. Joy, peace, bliss. And as we go into our silent time, we will monitor the time. You just take that inward journey. If the mind wanders, it's okay. Bring it back. And let every voice and every thought that is unlike this love, let it be still now. eyes still closed, we notice ourselves from the inside. We remember something about ourselves that we can have and be and do whatever we desire. And right now, what we have decided is to have peace, joy, and bliss. Just sit in that sensation. Sit in the joy.
Joy, peace, bliss.
Sit in that peace.
Joy, peace, bliss. Joy, peace,
It's yours.
bliss. I can have joy. I can feel peace
Anytime you want.
and
Bring
bliss.
yourself to
I
this
can
moment,
have
to
joy.
this present
I
moment,
can feel
and
peace
feel.
and bliss. I can have joy. I can feel peace and bliss. I can have joy. I can feel peace and bliss. I can have joy. I can feel peace and bliss. I can have joy. I can feel peace and bliss.
Start to
I
bring
can
yourself
have
back now.
joy. I can feel
If
peace.
the palms are turned up, turn them down, signaling the body it's time to return.
I can feel peace and bliss.
Breathing in more deeply now. Maybe wiggle the fingers and toes.
Joy, I can feel peace and bliss.
Now bring your palms together at heart center.
I can feel peace.
Bow your chin to your fingertips, honoring this time that you gave yourself, those who have gone before.
Feel peace
Slowly flutter the eyes open. Nice easy gaze.
and bliss.
Inhale, raise the chin,
I can have joy.
raise the gaze.
I can feel peace
Namaste.
and bliss. I can have joy. I can feel peace and bliss.
There's a very simple affirmation, simple mantra that I realize that we can never, ever affirm too many times. 3 words. I am enough. Because that thoughts of unworthiness run rampant in our lives. That thoughts of unworthiness, in many cases, it's the foundational belief pattern that then informs everything else in our lives. And so this song is a song that can support you in remembering the absolute truth that just you are absolutely 100% enough. Just like the air is plentiful, flowers that bloom to bowls, grains of sand uncountable.
I am enough.
Just like the clouds, stars in the sky innumerable. I know
I am enough.
and we sing I am.
I am enough. I am enough.
Just as I am,
As I am.
I am enough.
I am enough.
Oh,
I am enough.
yes, I am. Just as I am.
Just as I am enough.
Oh, just like the air is plentiful, flowers that bloom in multiples, the grains of sand, I can count them all, but I know
I am enough.
I look at the clouds and they're beautiful, like the earth, billions and billions of people, stars in the sky innumerable. I know
I am enough.
hey, we sing
I am enough.
I am. Nothing can be added and nothing I am. Just as I am.
Just as I am enough.
I am power
I am power.
and I am peace.
I am peace.
I am love eternally.
Eternally.
I am whole, yeah, and complete.
And complete.
Oh, that's who I am. And we sing I am enough.
Enough.
I know,
I am enough.
just as I am.
I am.
We are, we are, we are, we are, we yes, we are enough. We are. That's just like the truth of life. No, this is the truth of life. We are. One more time, we are enough. We are enough. We are. Can everybody just sing this with us? I am enough. Everybody affirm. Do you realize what that means? Just as I am. It doesn't matter what the circumstances of your birth may have been. It doesn't matter what happened last week. It doesn't matter what happened years ago. It doesn't matter what you think you didn't get in your life or what you didn't have. You're looking at somebody else's life and you're saying, well, they had all of these things in their life, so there's no way that I could be perfect. Or I look at somebody else and they had these other things in their life and I wish I had those things. That's not the truth. Just as you are, I am. Speak that over your life. Just as I am. As you are right now. Whether you consider yourself a success or a failure, you are. Break it down. I am enough. I am just as I am. And so it is.
Just as I am.
Nothing's wrong with me. I'm perfect, whole, and complete. Nothing's broken here. Nothing's missing here. We know that we're enough. Or does it just sound like good words to say? In fact, if we just took that, we could get up out of here and walk out. If we just made that our daily mantra, if we just got up and said, I'm enough, I know it, I believe it, I'm gonna live it from this moment forward, I am enough. And let nothing that I see in this world change my mind about me. I am enough. I have to share with y'all right now. I looked out in the audience and I saw my little sweetie. And she was singing along. That little soul, that big soul in that little body. That you were enough. Week after week. What a profound change that would have brought to many of us and can still. I don't know. Just the music industry get it right every Sunday. I'm going to say every Sunday. And we get it right for so many reasons right now. I didn't even think about it, but it is International Women's Day. And if we made that our mantra as women, given how we are viewed in this world and in this country right now, given the fact that our competencies are not enough for others, given that we do more than we should to prove that we are enough, given that we have this internal dialogue going on that says the contrary. But today we're going to affirm that we are enough. Thank you, Soul 21. I might need the tissue ministry up here for myself. As Denise shared with us so beautifully, we are in, oh, look at that. We are in the third month. We are in part 3 of our three-part series, You Better Work, based on the text by Raymond Hollowell, Working with the Law. Working with the law. And it's been great, right? We've gotten an opportunity to move through this text systematically week after week, taking a part or a principle and really drilling down into it. Because we, first of all, got to always remember that there is only one truth here. And as Hollowell says, I shall call God working in our lives law. And so this law is God, and God is this law. There is nothing else. But as we interpret this law, we bring more clarity to our lives. We become successful at using this law, okay? So there's only one law, and whether you call it, however you look at it, the cross sections, the principles, the truths, these fundamental truths or attributes, there is one law. And that law is God, and God is that law, and it is good, and the law is good. All of that, right? So there's nothing working in opposition to us. We have to learn how to work with the law. Last week, Pastor Greg started us off nicely, part 3, with his message, Hold No One Prisoner, which is based on last week's chapter 9, the law of forgiveness. And he hit us with it too, didn't he? The understanding that if we hold no one prisoner, that he said, we don't even understand truly what forgiveness is. And you can tell that by the way that we interact with each other, the way we treat each other, the way society operates. We don't understand what it is, what it's for, or how to use it. And he took lesson 192 from A Course in Miracles and used that as part of his teaching on what forgiveness is and specifically how forgiveness operates in our lives. Because if we are in unforgiveness, we become a jailer. A jailer to the other person, because that person is now being held captive under lock and key in our own mind. Now that person might be out here in the world running free. They might even walk up to you and be like, oh, hey, right? And you'd be like, look, Do you know you were behind lock and key? They don't, because that jail is only in your mind. And so what we have to do is release instead of bind, and thus we become free. That way, forgiveness becomes a success principle. So, great message. If you didn't get an opportunity to see it, go on YouTube. It's there, it's available. And actually, this whole series has just been powerful, right? But we're going to move on. We're going to move on to the law of sacrifice. Yeah, right. That's exactly what this week when I don't do well in that if he has taken me this far, there must be something in this word sacrifice that I don't understand, that I have been improperly applied. There is this beautiful law of the Creator, amazing. That moon will sacrifice itself to the sun. In a few hours, it will lovingly give up its place and something else will replace it. And also in a few days, winter, it's not going to strain with it. It's not going to think, second guess it. It's just going to do it. And just like the darkness, my grandmother Louise came to my mind. I heard her say, cut on that line. Any instant she could say, is it just my grandmother because she's Southern? Let that shade up so that I can get some light in here. Let that window up so I can get some air in here. And I laughed at that moment and I said, to all of these things, the law of sacrifice in operation. Now, did any of those things sound like I was suffering? Is the moon suffering to let the sun come up? Was it suffering so that winter gives way to spring? Is it suffering the moment we flip the light on, the darkness is gone? Now, it might be suffering for me to get up and walk across the room to be that we have misunderstood what sacrifice really is as a success principle. So let's talk about that in chapter. Some always sacrificed for something else. Everything in life has its own price and is never up for sale. We have to purchase it at the price it demands, day after day. So what he's saying here is everything has a price. Now, when we hear the word price, we automatically associate it with what happens. There's a transformation that happens in this process of something to something to something. And the fact that life has this counter equally always available to us. All we have to do is go up to it and offer something and get something. Right? Make sense? He goes on to say, we are sacrificing every day of our lives, whether we want to or not, whether we know it or not. No matter what we want of life, we have to give up something in order to get something. Now, here's understanding begins. Most of us have been raised, whether we are formally in the church or not, to believe a different meaning of sacrifice. A Course in Miracles talks about this. It says that sacrifice is a notion totally unknown to God. And why does it say that? It's unknown to God in the way in which we practice it. Hear me. It's unknown to God in the way in which we practice it. And that practicing began as soon as we thought we understood the meaning of it. Opposed to the resurrection. It all began very early, and as the Course in Miracles says, it arises solely from fear, this definition. And frightened people can be vicious. Frightened people can be vicious. So what it's saying here is that the moment that crucifixion and leading to the resurrection happened, we interpreted through our lens a fearful interpretation of it. We thought that from that moment forward, not only did we have to sacrifice animals, we had to sacrifice ourselves, that even, in fact, this most beloved of all God's creations, Jesus Christ, was sacrificed for this vicious God. This vicious God. But that is not God. That is our interpretation of God. That is our belief about ourselves that is being projected out into this world. And we operate that way nonstop, day in, day out. Oh, I believe unconsciously or consciously there is a price to be paid. It is a horrific price. I have to pay it because I'm not enough. I'm not enough as I am. There's something that's required of me, and it is a high price, and I have to pay it. Otherwise, I won't get what I desire, what I want out of life. That is not the case. Hollowell agrees. He says, when the law of sacrifice is carried over into the moral realm, the physical realm, it is commonly presented as one-sided. I gotta appease this God, because if I don't, I ain't getting what I want. And then we translated that into our relationships. I gotta appease my partner if I to live a good. I'm glad you're gonna do that. You coming? We're starting this together. I said, no. And I said no because I'm nobody's pastor of nothing. I like to cuss too much. That this next step in my life was going to require some sacrifice from me. And not the kind that Hollowell's talking about, an even exchange, a loving exchange. It was going to require me to be somebody completely different. It was going to require that. And I wasn't willing to do that. I liked who I was, I liked where my life was going, and I wasn't going to do it. But really what it was fear. It was fear. I just had a conversation with my grandmother when I was 19. And she said, no, you're the minister, marry one. And that prophetic voice came rushing back in. And I remember what I said to her, but I ain't gonna share it right now. But again, it was the fear of being something other than what I was. And what she told me was, do you think that this God that I speak of would put you anywhere with anyone that was not in perfect alignment with who you are and where you're going? You don't have to sacrifice anything to get this thing other than your fear. So the exchange that we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about this sacrifice of our fear. We're going to take these ideas of Hollowell's and A Course in Miracles, and we're going to talk about making the sacrifice of fear. Because we've already said there is nothing inherent in what Hollowell is saying and what A Course in Miracles is saying about fear, about sacrifice, that should be fearful. It's an even exchange. I'm growing into my next level. This relationship that I'm in, if it's not working for me, I'm not going to cow down to it. I'm going to let someone else, going to release it and move on. This job that I'm in that feels like it's not the right thing, I'm going to easily and effortlessly release it, make room in my life, in my heart, in my consciousness so that it can come in. That's what I'm offering, and that's what I will get in return. This health that I seek in my body, I'm going to release all the ideas that have kept me bound. I'm going to forgive. I'm going to do whatever is necessary. That's the price that I pay in terms of my thinking to get what I want. So this sacrifice that we're talking about, Hollowell says it requires something. If you look at all the people that you admire, they've made sacrifices, but not like you think. All the people that we admire did something very specific. No matter how much talent they had, heroes, the people that we admire, didn't get there by accident. They applied the law of sacrifice. And why and how did they do that? Discipline. Discipline. Not discipline meaning difficulty and despair, but a focused, concentrated, continual effort, thinking that led to success. And so if that meant that they had to give up something else to get that, that was a sacrifice they were willing to make. It wouldn't be a sacrifice. If you are moving in the direction of the thing you desire and you have to give up something to get something else, is that a sacrifice? Now, it becomes a sacrifice because you're afraid to move into the next step and you find reasons to stay back and say, no, I ain't gonna be nobody's pastor. He says, Hollowell says, granted, they all may be very gifted, But those final magical results come not by accident or chance, but by discipline. And discipline this way, discipline that is consciously chosen, ardently desired, and patiently persisted in. 3, you got it? Discipline that is consciously. I'm not going to, one day, I think I'm going to be the next, right? I'm not going to be the next sensational and broad I am, and the next day listening to the voice within me that says, no, I'm not. I have to consciously choose moment by moment by moment whether I'm willing to sacrifice my thoughts about it for the thoughts that are true about it. Ardently desired, passionately desired. You can't be wishy-washy in the thing that you desire and the steps that you're willing to take to get it. Patiently persisted. You're not swayed by what is happening in the external world. You know where you're going. You know that each step is leading you there. And you patiently persist. Right now, there's something going on in our country. I felt it too on Thursday morning. Whether you are a fan of Elizabeth Warren or not, there was this loss that was felt. There was a loss felt. Whether your candidate is currently in the race or not, there was a moment that felt like hope that this country would come to its senses and allow competent, charismatic, some female leadership at its helm. But it didn't. And whether she is your candidate or not, the idea that it's time created for a long time, those women on that glass ceiling. I have to admit, I cried. Did anybody else cry on this last several days? About where the state of our country is going. About how it feels to be a woman in this country. Or how it feels to be the man that loves a woman in this country and supports her. But what it's saying here is that we have to be patiently persistent. It means maintain the vision no matter. This type of discipline and maintaining this vision requires something. We got to sacrifice our fear. Our fear, our doubt, our worry, our insecurity, the voice that is in our head that keeps telling us we can't, we won't, we shouldn't. A Course in Miracles says it this way in lesson 323. I gladly make the sacrifice of fear. It says this, here is the only sacrifice you are asked of your beloved son or daughter. You ask him or her to give up all suffering, all sense of loss, sadness, all anxiety, doubt. Freely let your love come streaming into his or her awareness, healing him or her joy. Such is the sacrifice you've asked of me, and what I'm gladly willing to make. The cost of restoration of your memory, of the memory of who and what I really am, my insecurity. I'd gladly give up my insecurity for joy, my pain for joy. I would gladly give up my doubt for knowing that I come from this source and it's never changed its mind about me, that I am one, this power, this ever-present understanding, infinite intelligence. I'm one with it. So why wouldn't I give up sorrow? Why wouldn't I give up suffering? It has cost me more than it ever should. And I'm willing to give it up because there's something else I desire. Recognize that whatever is in my mind and my heart to accomplish, it's already done in the mind of Source. That's the sacrifice that we're being asked to make today. Course in Miracles goes on, it says, yes, just like Hollowell, as we pay the debt we owe to truth, a debt that merely is the letting go of self-deception, of images we worshipped falsely, truth returned to us in wholeness and joy. As we pay this debt, what is it saying about this debt? It's saying God is not asking us to give up something of value. If you value your suffering, we got a problem. If you value your insecurity, we have a problem. If you value your self-doubt, we have a problem. God is asking us in this exchange, in this conversation, in this relationship, what are you willing to give up? Oh, I gladly give up my fear. I gladly give it up. Why? Because it's hurting me. It's hurting my ability to advance in my career. It's hurting me from seeing and receiving the love that I want. It's hurting me in pursuing the creative endeavors that I want. It's hurting me. And God is not requiring that kind of sacrifice of us. What we owe is simply to honor the truth in us. Honor the truth in us. Give up trying to be good at stuff that you ain't good at. That makes you feel bad because you're not good at it. They look at you, there's something wrong with you. Give up that. Give up the doubt that says, I got to stay here in this career. Give up the need to be validated by someone outside of yourself. Give that up. Give up trying to be other than you are, because you were made perfect, whole, and complete. And what else is there to be? We know how this law works. Now, we've gotten a different understanding of it, but we know how to apply it. And that's the good news. We already know how to apply it. We do it already. Our scientists do it. Our artists do it. Our athletes do it. Yet, we let ourselves, I'm not saying, we let ourselves go. We must flee, unleash our instincts, and throw off restraint. Meaning, we out here acting willy-nilly, y'all. We out here just acting willy-nilly. We out here responding to something that is not like our name. We're just out here. We out here listening to what I like to call the mind troll, which is the ego. We out here listening to the mind troll. Y'all know what a troll is, right? We're out here listening to have you ever just been in a conversation on social media and it's going along and then all of a sudden somebody inserts something that just drops it off? We are moving along our path to success. We are in alignment with the vision that we have. We've already traded in those things that are no longer serving for something that is, and then all of a sudden some doubt creeps in. But instead of realizing and recognizing that it is the mind troll, we engage it. Well, you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe I should have more money to start this business. Maybe I should wait another couple years. Maybe I should let him run over top of me or her run over top. Maybe I should. Maybe I'm not worthy of more. You know what? You're right. I remember back in 1995. And the mind troll has taken over. And we have thrown off restraint. We are just out here, following behind our fear instead of shedding it, sacrificing it. It's a season. This is the season of Lent. We're already practicing it. Many people who are Christian or who want to practice this type of understanding observe this 40 days of Lent based on the Christian tradition. And they withdraw themselves for those 40 days, and they might fast, or they might restrain themselves from festivities, or give up social media and all these things. And that's nice. But what if the most important thing we can do during this Lent season is give up our thoughts that are causing us pain? Yes. What if we do that instead of giving up chocolate cake? Right? Because you know I love chocolate cake. What if we did that? What if we start punishing ourselves for the fact that there are things we desire and we can't give those up? We shouldn't have to. But the thing that we should give up is our fear, is our self-doubt, is our insecurity. And any moment that comes up, we squash it. We put our focus back on the truth of our being. So this year, this season, that's the thing we should be giving up. Now, you can give up TV and you can give up whatever it is you want, but what's going to lead you to success is changing your mind about you. In closing, we have to give up something. There is always something asked and exchanged for something else. Always. Is that change going to be a positive, loving, supportive exchange? You get to decide what you give up. Everything has a price. But as you pull up to the counter of life, that is a loving encounter, know that what you can sacrifice easily is your doubt. It'll take it. And in its place, it will give you certainty for something else. And it's going to be of more value to you than that very fear, doubt, worry, old story that you've been holding on to. Let's make this exchange. Let's sacrifice our fear and open up our hearts and our minds to this understanding that this loving God, this loving law is always available to support us, to provide in your. We closed our eyes to this external world. And we open up our hearts and we join our heart and our mind in song. We join our heart and our mind in harmony. We create a unified front that walks out into this world. Because we know that there is one mind and one power and one presence, and it is equally available right where we are. This power and this presence is infinite intelligence. This power and this presence is unlimited creativity. This power and this presence is I thank you, Mother, Father, God, for the souls assembled here and those that will be viewing this beyond these walls. Begins to speak. Offer it up. Sacrifice it in favor of the truth that is waiting to come forward to you and through you. I'm grateful, Mother, Father, God, that as we move out this week, we will live this truth instead of our fear. We will live this way instead of in the shadows. We will remember that right where we stand, there is no glass ceiling. We will remember that the ceiling has already been shattered other places in the world. And so it's just a matter of time before it's shattered here. We persist in our knowing. We let nothing turn us back. We become conscious in our choosing to align ourselves with love. And we ardently hold on to our desires and let nothing separate us. From this place of awareness and knowing, we go out. From this place of awareness and knowing, we surrender. From this place of awareness and knowing, we live, move, and have our being in you. You that knows the truth of us and is waiting for us patiently to receive it. Thank you, Mother, Father, God, for these words, for these souls, for this unfolding. That's easy. That all we have to do is make this sacrifice of our fear. Nothing else is being required of us. We release these words in anticipation, expectation, and excitement for the ways in which we will show up this week. From this place of awareness, I say amen. Amen. Ashe. Ashe. And so it is. So it is. Well, we've come to the time in our service dedicated to doing something, experiencing the goodness of God, the giving and receiving of love in the form of our resources. At CSC, we believe something very profound. We believe that there is no set amount to ensure your joy. But there is no set amount that will allow you to receive the goodness that is God. Give a certain percentage. It's not the percentage that matters, it is the vibration under which you give it. So if you give $1 in joy, you receive back the joy. If you give $1,000 in fear, doubt, and worry, and insecurity and tightness, then you're going to get back that vibration. So we never, ever, ever say that there's something you should give. You give from joy, whatever your joy number is, and expect that in return. My grandmother used to say, give because it feels good, not because it hurts. My grandmother was full of goodness, wasn't she? And so whatever that number is for you, it doesn't matter to us. We want you to give it in the vibration. It comes back to me in a never-ending stream of increase and enjoyment. We call our ushers forward to take an offering. The life force that is you, Mother, Father God. We are so grateful today for the givers and for the gifts. We know that as it goes out, it has to come back to us. And we stand in anticipation for the ways in which it will show up this week. Our vibration is high, our love is flowing, and our anticipation is equally available right here and everywhere in the future. From this place of knowing, together we say, Amen. Amen. Ashe. Ashe. So it is. Amen.
Coming right back to me.
nothing requiring us to suffer. We can let go of our stories about ourselves at any time. There's nothing being required of us to sacrifice ourselves for another. We are being called to be miracle workers, not martyrs. And so we stand in this awareness this week. Next week is God Talk Sunday. So if something's on your mind, something's on your heart, and you want to talk about it, it's always a good time. There's no question off limit. So bring your questions next Sunday at 1 o'clock to God Talk. And as we go out today, remember, if you're in fear, doubt, and worry, it's okay. But you need to have someone support you in releasing that, in sacrificing your fear. So what we want you to do is write it down and leave your worries on the altar. Leave all that worry, that doubt, that insecurity on the altar. And when you do that, we will pray. We won't beg God. We won't barter with God. We won't beseech God. Oh, please, God, because we know that God is pleased. If you want someone to do that with you, this week it is our prayer champion, Nessa, and she will pray over it all week. And when we release it, leave our worries, sacrifice our fear. What do we say here every Sunday?
All things are possible.
The ladies will sing Pastor Briggs. Now, all things are possible. Now every little thing is possible. 'Cause I know who I am. And I know whose I am.